All right. Here we are tonight with part two of Forward Movement, how to get unstuck before the end of the year. We are so happy that you were able to join us, whether you're watching live or you're watching on team replay. We're happy that you are here and hope that you walk away with something that you need so that you could get forward before the end of the year. A lot of times we like to wait until, the clock rolls over to January 1 before we start making moves on what we're doing. But if you didn't move from January 1, 2024, chances are you're not going to move in January 1, 2025. So that's why we are here tonight with part two of the forward movement and how to get unstuck before the end of the year. And tonight, we are going to be talking about how to get your butt out of the way, not my butt out of your way, your butt out of your way so that you could stop making excuses and actually get forward, move forward with what it is that you set out to do. And so whether you're with us for the first time or you were with us last month when we had the first installment of this series, we just want to remind you of why we are here. We are here to encourage you if you feel like you've been making moves, but you're not making progress. Year after year, you're setting goals, you're setting tasks, you're dreaming big, but you are actually doing things, but not actually making progress towards the big goal. And also, if you feel like you are busy, but you're not satisfied, you're just busy, you're constantly at the wheel, making, just, doing all the busy work, but you're not satisfied with what it is that you're doing. And this is especially for you if you're at that point. Sometimes when we get to this point in the year, we start asking ourselves questions like, do we quit or do we keep going? And so if you want to know whether or not it's time to quit or you've already quit, but you're not satisfied or not at peace with your quitting, this is the perfect place for you to be so that you could know what your next move is. And finally, if you are ready to redeem the time that you lost over this year, over the past few months, or over many years, just because you've been sitting on that big God idea that you have, or that big goal, or that big dream that you've been having, and we want to make sure that you are able to redeem the time without the fear or overwhelm or anxiety or frustration or any of those things that are kind of toxic towards you, towards your motivation. And so we want to help you out tonight, even as we help ourselves. All of us could attest that there's something that we need to get going forward on, right, Jermaine? And so Jermaine and I are here tonight just to help you to move forward. And we're just going to jump straight into it because the time usually goes by very fast. But the first thing that we want you to remember and to keep in mind as you go along this journey with us is that this has to be personal. This has to be something that is personal to you and to your reason why and to what it is that the reason why you need to move forward, the reason why you need to get unstuck. This has to be personal. So we want you to take everything that we're saying personally. If it's offending you a bit, take that personal too and use that to your advantage so that you could move forward and not have the same story be your story a year from now. All right, so let's just jump into the conversation with 5 excuses that you must eliminate now in order for you to move forward towards your future. Jermaine, take it away. You're muted. You're muted. That's we've
That's
been doing
that,
Zoom so
that
long, and that's like
that's
the
on mute.
trauma, the trauma,
Yeah,
the trauma of talking and getting all excited and you're muted. But
listen,
take it away.
I was jumping in there with you as you're talking, but evidently I was muted, and so that's the challenge. Listen, it's always good to see you all the way in Freeport, Grand Bahama in the Bahamas. It's so good to see you, and just for our conversation. I always, offline and online, appreciate our conversations because the reality is this conversation that we're having is one that's been ongoing for you and I, right? Like, so it's not only personal that we want others to take it personal, it's personal in our own lives, right?
Right.
And so as we were talking about, as we were debriefing after our last conversation, I was having some thoughts, and then we got together and we thought about this, right? And so what came to my mind, and I don't know if I shared this with you, is a passage in the book of Exodus, right, where uh, God comes to Moses in this fire. You remember the story? That
Mhm.
God shows up in this fire and he comes to Moses and he tells Moses, I want you to go back to Egypt and set your people free. And Moses was like, but what if they don't receive me? Right? Then he was like, but what if they found out what I did? Or what if they realize I'm not an Egyptian? And then he's like, but I also stutter, right, when I speak. And he was giving all these excuses for reasons why he couldn't do and didn't do what God had called him to do. And I think
Mhm.
oftentimes we find ourselves in that same space, Shmia, where
Yeah.
we're making excuses for the thing that God has put in our heart, for the thing that we said that we wanted to accomplish, the thing that we said that we want to set out to do. And so what we have to do is we need to get our own butt out the way. That excuse that we're making for not accomplishing. I think about it, it is the end of October, right? We wanted to
Right.
do this next Tuesday, but next Tuesday is the 5th, and that's kind of an important day here in America. That's election day, so we didn't want to do it then. But we thought about it with just 2 months left in the year. How many of us are at a place where we haven't accomplished the things that we said we wanted to accomplish?
Yeah.
And the reason why, sometimes it's some external factor, but a lot of times it's our excuses. And so tonight we want to help you in our conversation together talk about those excuses. I think the first excuse that I feel that a lot of people have, entrepreneurs, pastorpreneurs, kingdom business owners, the first excuse that we often have is, I don't have enough time, right? Right. But I want to do it. I want to accomplish it. I want to launch it, but I don't have enough time. And I completely understand that if you are, you're a business owner, but you also work a job. You're a business owner, but you're also a parent. You're a business owner, but you're involved in your community. The aspect of time, right? So you're overwhelmed with responsibilities, and that's understandable to a certain extent. But oftentimes, for me, the problem is this: we use our time as an excuse to procrastinate. Like,
Right.
you're not stewarding the time that you have. And so you use time as a reason to procrastinate. Like, you want to do it, but you don't feel like you have enough time. And so, as we were talking about that, you and I, we've been there, right? Where we feel as if we don't have enough time. Even as we're planning forward movement, as we're planning our different business ventures, oftentimes the feel is that we don't have enough time. And so, one of the
Right.
things that you and I talked about is prioritizing your priorities, right? Like, there's priorities that we have, but we have to prioritize our priorities. If it's important, we have to eliminate non-essential tasks or eliminate activities that are non-essential. And maybe every day create a list of priorities that we want to accomplish for that day. Like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
sleep until I accomplish this. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Whereas, like, I'm prioritizing my priorities. I'm making my priority a priority. I found this Mia. I found out that there's tension, this tension between urgent and important.
Ah, I
You,
think I
you,
get it. But
you get
yeah.
what I'm saying? There's
Yeah,
this
I get it.
tension. There's this tension oftentimes between what is urgent and what's important. And oftentimes we find ourselves doing what's urgent, but that
Right.
doesn't mean it's the most important thing to do.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So often we let urgent stop us from doing what's important. And so
Right.
therefore our priorities get out of whack because the urgent thing wasn't important, but because it's urgent, it jumped in front of what was important.
Right.
And so we did the urgent thing.
Someone in the chat is saying that sometimes it seems like it's the same thing, that the
Yeah,
urgent and important, sometimes it seems like, like it's one
yeah,
and the same.
but that's the only reason why that would happen is if we don't recognize and we don't prioritize our priorities. Right?
Right.
If we don't understand which is the more important thing, like, hey, these things I'm going to do today. These three things are the most important thing to do today. That even if something important, urgent comes up, you still got to take care of what's important.
Right.
And oftentimes the urgent thing knocks the important thing out of the way, and we find ourselves feeling as if we don't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's important to prioritize. I understand stuff happen though, right? Like life happens, you got to keep living, you'll experience different things, and oftentimes something urgent comes up, right? Like your child gets sick, you you got, someone needs you for something, your parent, whatever the case is. Urgent things always come up, but you always
Right.
have to understand what's important and prioritize those things. The next thing,
Yeah.
I was talking to my insurance agency last night, and I was talking to them about most of them, they work part-time, they work jobs, and then they work with us part-time. One of the things that you have to do is sometimes schedule power hours, right? We talked about that, right? Where you block time out, where say, I work a job, but guess what? From 6 to 7 every day, I'm going to work on my business. I'm going to work on my idea. I'm going to work on my dream. I'm going to work on that thing that I have in my heart. I'm going to work on that goal that I started off the year with, right? Like blocking time out, scheduling power hours. The next thing is when you feel as you don't have enough time, one of the things I've learned to do, Shmi, is delegate or automate.
Mm-hmm.
Delegate or automate, right? Like
Delegate or automate.
I'm at a stage in my life where the only things I want to focus on is the things that only I could do.
Ah, I get it.
Does that
You
make
only
sense?
want to focus on what you, the things that only you can do.
Only I could do it.
So if someone else can do it, let them do it.
Let them do it. Yeah, let them
Mm-hmm.
do it. And oftentimes we get in our own way because we feel like we want to have control of everything.
That's
You
the
you
word, you know.
you could either have freedom or you could have control,
Whew.
but
This is gonna be
very
on the
rarely
Daily
you could have
Movement
both.
coming up soon, right? That's gonna be next on the Daily Movement, right?
Was it
You
freedom
could have
versus
free,
control?
yeah, you could have freedom or you could have control.
Yeah, I think I
I
think
like that.
I think that is one of the challenges when it comes to our time management is that we want control, but we also
Yeah.
want freedom. And so that's another tension, that urgent versus important, but also the freedom versus control, right? Like that's a tension. And so what you have to learn to do is learn to delegate.
Uh-huh. But guess what, Jermaine? I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like our parents and the people before us messed us up when they taught us that phrase that if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
And so we get stuck there. And I feel like that's one of the things that kind of messed us up. And so now we're at the stage where we're questioning things that we learned a long time ago. Like, is this really true? And how much value does this carry? And so we have a hard time delegating or putting that control in someone else's hands because we think that if we don't do it ourselves,
yeah.
then it'll just be a complete mess.
Yeah, I think of it, I remember as a church planter and starting a church, I remember there's an aspect of if you're a business owner, you have to wear many hats, right?
Right.
Like some Sundays you're the janitor, some Sundays you're the sound man, some Sundays you work in the nursery, some days you're in the parking lot, some days you're the greeter, some days you might, if you could sing, you are a musician, and oftentimes um you do those things because you know how you want it done. But really that is a glare into or a mirror into a weakness perhaps. And that
Ooh,
weakness is you want control,
right.
right? Like you want control. And so that may be a hard thing to accept, but if time is a part of your agenda, if time is a part of your issue, then you have to delegate or you have to automate. Like even
Yes.
in my business now, I have AI that handles maybe 200 conversations a day for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I have scripts, I have an idea of what I would normally talk to people about, but I introduced AI and that completely free up my time. Because AI, it's not even a person, but it could handle a lot of the simple tasks. And that's what I mean by automate, right? Automate
Right.
where there's software, there's booking, there's the websites that can handle some of the things that you could do that you want to do as a business owner, as a minister, as a pastor, whatever the case is, that oftentimes we don't do because we don't have we don't have the frame of mind to understand that you should only be doing what you need to do.
Right.
Right? There's certain things that only you bring to your organization, only you bring to your business that only you should be doing, but everything else can be automated or delegated.
We have another comment in the chat where someone is saying that we glamorize hard work over smart work. And so I believe that that is also why we invest so much time doing all the minor things. We got to work hard. You got to sweat. You got to earn it. But one of the things I learned this year is that, and it helped me to it helps me to get a different perspective of time. And so when we're talking about saying that you don't have enough time, like, what do you mean you don't have enough time? Do you know that in Ethiopia, they're on a different calendar system from the rest of the world? And so right now in Ethiopia, it's like 7 years behind. So you could go back to Ethiopia and change the time on your clock or on your calendar.
So if you go to Ethiopia, you could be younger as well.
I
Like
mean, you could be as young
to
as you
Ethiopia and
feel.
be 35.
You could go ahead and you could kind of, if you feel like you need more time, you just go back, reset, redeem some time, and you know, because time really is relative, you know, when we
Right.
look at time itself. And so to say you don't have enough time, what is enough time? And so if you don't prioritize your time, you'll never have enough time. You'll always be running out of the clock, no matter
Hey,
what. And everyone has the same
listen.
24.
You know what I realize? People find time for what's important.
Yeah, they do. What's important to them in the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And so if you
People
don't know what your
find that.
priorities are, you will always prioritize the wrong thing. You'll
And
prioritize the wrong
oftentimes,
thing time and time again. And so right now you're sitting up saying, well, I don't have enough time to do that thing. If you really take a look at what you're spending your time on, you know, some people would be, they would be like confused to try to understand how much hours they spent scrolling on Facebook, watching the headlines, watching other people live their lives and doing the thing that they wish that they could have been doing. But the time goes by so fast because before you know it, you wasted the whole day. You
yeah,
wasted the whole day because you didn't
yeah.
prioritize your time.
I don't want to, I don't want to get on anyone's toes in that regard because I'm guilty of it, right? But on your phone, it will tell you how much time you spent on your phone, whatever case is.
Right.
And so the average person, if they look at it, they spend about 4 hours a day on their phone, right? Like
Yes.
10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, half an hour here, whatever case is, 10 minutes. And I did some math on that, right? And just looking at that, if you take a person who's 15 and you take them for 60 years until they're 75, and let's say they do that exact same thing, 7 days a week, they're on their phone. When you add that up, you would be on your phone for 10 years.
Wow. Just in your phone, watching
Just
other people live their lives.
for 10 years, you'd spend on your
Wow.
phone. And that was convicting for me in terms of, a lot of what I do business wise is on my phone or whatever case is, but we spend a
You
lot of
could get
time on
lost in the
what's not
sauce.
important. What's
Yeah, you
not
could get
important.
lost in the sauce if you're not prioritizing.
And
Yeah.
so my encouragement to anybody watching today is if you feel as you don't have enough time, do an assessment. Do an assessment of your time and where you're spending your time, right? And what you want to do is you want to prioritize your priorities. Make a list every day of what's important to you, what's the most important thing, and don't allow what's urgent to jump in front of what's important. Sometimes they go hand in hand, but sometimes what's urgent can wait because you need to do what's important, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes, I'll say this and I'll move on. Oftentimes, other people want their emergency to become your priority.
I have
I'll
to
keep it.
close my eyes
I,
because that's
I'll keep
the
it moving. I'll keep it moving, Shamia. But really, a lot of times, it's the people around us that what's urgent for them, they want to be our priority as well. And so their
definitely
emergency isn't our priority, right? A lot
right.
of times. So you want to be careful of that. Then you want to schedule power hours. We talked about that, blocking times out. And then you want to delegate or you want to automate. If you
Yes.
need to get that butt out the way that I don't have enough time, I hope those things help you out today. Let me go on to number two, Shamir, real quick, and our time is quickly going. The second one is this: that you need to get your butt out the way. A lot of times, I'm talking to pastors, I'm talking to ministry leaders. I'm talking to business owners, I'm talking to entrepreneurs. And one of the big buts that they have is, but I don't have enough money. Now, we've been there now. I'll be the first one to say, I've said this one. Come on, right? Like I'm guilty of saying I don't have enough money, right? And oftentimes people, to expand my business, to start my business, I don't have enough money. And oftentimes financial concerns could be the very thing that's holding us back because we're waiting on the perfect budget and it can lead to missed opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Just saying I don't have enough money, you can miss so many opportunities. And so I just want to share a few things with you if that's where you are, because this is 2024, right? And so the old folks used to say there's multiple ways to skin a cat, right? And oftentimes I've come to understand that in times of desperation is often the foundation or the breeding ground for creativity, right? But let me step back and talk about some action steps in this regard. One of the things that you need to do is you need to spend wisely, right? Spend wisely and focus on smart funding and low-cost strategies, right? Like there's multiple ways to skin a cat that you may not be able to do it on the scale that you want to do it on, but you could do it. You could do something.
You can do something.
You could do something. Oftentimes we're waiting for the complete budget, but sometimes you could just start where you are. Start where you are.
Right.
Next thing that I realize that people don't want to do and you could do is you could leverage free resources. Like, listen,
Yeah.
I know you, and you are the queen of free resources. You will group one free resource with another free resource and another free resource, and you have this robust system because you utilize free resources. Am I right?
And it's working, and no one knows the difference.
Listen, I remember I saw some things that you did, and I kind of scoped it out, right? And I kind of reverse engineer what you were doing.
Really now?
Yeah. I reverse engineer what you were doing and realized, like, wait, this free? Wait, this free? Wait, this free? And what it is the level of creativity that comes out of realizing that you have to be resourceful,
right,
when you don't have the budget that you want, right?
Right.
And so utilize free platforms, free apps, free tools that can help you build, grow, and leverage your business. I was thinking about it last night. You had a free Canva class, right?
Yes, I did.
You had a free
Showing
Canva
you how
class
to use it in your free account.
in your free account, right? Oftentimes, I get people ask me all the time, like, man, who did your graphics? And I'm like, who did my graphics? Canva is free. Listen, I moved up in life. I got the pro account, right? I got a little pro account. So, I'm able to do a little bit more razzle dazzle, you know what I mean? But once again, you start where you are.
Right.
You start where you are. And also look for alternative means of funding, microfunds, grants, crowdfunding, other options that can help you with investments to help you start your business. Matter of fact,
Right.
I've recognized this. There are people that we know that have the resources but don't have the vision.
Right.
And oftentimes your vision and your ability to fund your vision is connected to someone that doesn't have the vision but have the finances.
Yes.
And so partnerships are key. If you feel like you don't have enough money, strategic partnerships. There are people looking to invest in others. They're looking for a place. Yeah, they're looking for it.
They are. They out there. They out there, but you're not giving them something to work with.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting up stuck on the excuse that you don't have enough money to start. And they're sitting up saying, well, I don't have something to put the money into, because you're not showing them something. You don't have the plan. You don't have something that you started. You haven't showed that if I put my money into you, that you could run with it, because you're just sitting up not doing anything because you're thinking that you need money. One of the things I wanted to point out too, right? If you're building a house, money will help you to build a house, but the reality of it is you need cement, you need blocks, you need sheetrock. These are the things that you actually need. And so when you train yourself to start looking at what is it that you actually need, sometimes it helps you to get attracted or connected to the actual resources more so than the money itself. So yes, money would be able to connect you with the resources, but like you said, sometimes a person is what you need to connect you to the resources.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful on so many different levels for me. That sometimes it's not the money that we need, it's the connection that we need, right?
Right.
And so we need to open up our minds. And I think about the parable in the Bible where where the master gives the talents. He gives these 5 talents,
Yes.
3 talents, and then 1 talent. And the dude with 1 talent, he hides it. He does nothing with it, right? But at least the dude with some talent, with 3 talents, 2 talents, 5 talents, whatever the case is, he said, I'm gonna put it to work. I'm gonna try to do something with it, right? And the whole aspect of that parable is doing something with what you have.
Do something with what you have. Use what you got. Make it
You
work.
use what you have. And in another scripture, um, that Elijah goes to the widow's house and says, "What do you have in your house?" And she said,
Yes.
"All I got is a little bit of oil. I just got a
And
little bit
notice
of
how she
oil."
said, all I have, like how she devalued that so much. This is it. This is all I have.
Yeah, that all you have perhaps is just enough for what you need to accomplish.
Right. All you
And
have is
so
all
you
you need.
what you have is all you need. And so you have
Mhm.
to train your mind. You have to develop a different way of thinking about what you have. My dad used to say it like this, and I used to hate when he said it to me. He used to say, "If you can't have what you want what you have." Now that don't make sense telling a 12-year-old that, right? Like if you don't have what you want what you have, because I I want what I want and I don't have it, so
Right.
I still want it, right? But the whole aspect of that is training your mind to use what you have.
Yes.
And oftentimes we're thinking about what we don't have, that we devalue what we do have.
Yes, we
Right?
do.
We devalue the tools, the resources, the people that we do have around us. And we get fixated on what we don't have. And a part of that is, I don't have enough money. I don't have
Right.
enough money. And so I want to challenge you, if that's where you are, with your dream, with your vision, to just do something with what you have.
Yes.
To spend wisely, to leverage free resources and leverage relationships that may not be the funding, but be the catalyst to bring the funding.
Yes. Yes, I agree. So
Okay.
let's move on
So
to excuse number three, because we could be here all night. We could go back to number one and be here all night, but we trying to help people to actually move forward instead of being stuck. So excuse number three, talk about it.
yeah, fear of failure. Fear of failure. I don't want to do it because I'll fail. And fear of failure can be it can paralyze you. You know, it can paralyze you and lead to inaction. And you know, I personally have a relationship with the fear of failure, perhaps more than all of these, right?
Yeah.
Um, because there's many things that I haven't done because I'm afraid I'll fail. Like, and nobody enjoys failure, right? But I've come to realize that failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is a
Mm,
part of success.
it's a part of it. It's a part of the story.
Yeah.
That's
Failure
growing.
isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of success. And so oftentimes we allow this fear of failure to paralyze us. And we have this analysis paralysis and we don't move at all because we're
Yeah.
afraid to do the thing that we know that we've been equipped to do, that we have been trained to do, that we've been gifted to do, we've been called to do, but we let failure cause us to not act. And I have so many different stories of the fear of failure, um, that I, you know I one of the things, even in this whole deal with forward movement, like as we plan and as we build out the future for, in our sessions that we talk about where we want to be next year sometime, right? And it's like, man, it seems daunting, right? And everybody
Hmm.
who's an entrepreneur knows this, right? Like you do something and what if nobody shows up? What if nobody
Yes.
supports me? What if nobody buys my product, right? Like we're having this live tonight. What if nobody comes online, right? This fear of failure, it will paralyze you. And so you got to come to a place where you reframe your relationship with failure and not look at it as the opposite of success, but a part of success. We talked about it.
Yes.
Listen, if nobody shows up, we're gonna do this and we're gonna record it and we're gonna put it out there like 100 people
Like
on.
everyone was there. Like
Oh,
this was a
forget it, forget
stadium.
it. Listen, when y'all see this remix in my reels, next week y'all gonna we were talking to thousands of people. You're thinking that this was a TED talk on a stage, right? Because we have a different relationship with failure now. That it's not natural. We've had to train our minds to think of it differently, but we can't allow it
Yes.
to paralyze us. So one of the things I have here in my notes, Shmia, about when we think about failure and this fear of failure, is that we have to, one, reframe failure as feedback. We have to
Ah,
reframe failure as
reframe
feedback.
failure as feedback.
Yeah, because setbacks and failure can be learning opportunities, and
Yes.
it teaches us what not to do, right? It gives us a different perspective, and so a failure gives us feedback. It tells us, okay, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that.
Yes.
I was sharing with my team the other day about these two scientists in Detroit. This is back in the 1930s, right? 1940s. And they were working on this formula, this cleaning formula. And they wanted something so powerful that it had like amazing cleaning power, but they wanted it safe as well, right? And so they worked on the formula. They worked on the formula. They tried the formula. They tried the formula. They tweaked the formula. They tried again, and they tried 400 times. They tried 401 times. They tried 405 times, 406 times, 407 times, 408 times. Here's the deal:
408.
they could have given up a long time ago, but
Right.
they tried the 409th time, and they found the formula that worked for them. And I don't know if
Yes.
you've ever seen Formula 409 cleaning product.
Yes.
It's
409.
409. It's because it was the 409th attempt to get the right formula. And many times, I hope it doesn't take that long, right? I hope it doesn't take that long. But reality is this: they could have easily given up, but they
Yes.
kept at it. And so you got to think that they definitely had a different mindset and a different relationship with failure. Their
Yes.
relationship with failure was like, hey, guess what? We found a new way that doesn't work. We
Yes.
found that what doesn't work for us, so let's keep moving. Okay, let's eliminate that. Okay, good. Oh, good. We moving all these reasons out the way that it can't work, it won't work, and so we're closer to what will work.
Yeah. And I would want to challenge someone to ask yourself, uh, why am I afraid of failure? Is it because I'm afraid of embarrassment? Like, am I afraid of the shame that's gonna come with it? You know, sometimes, especially people who are in the creative and the entrepreneurial type mindsets,
Mhm.
we do things over and over. And so your family could be like, you again, something else again, this again. And
Mhm.
sometimes that could cause you to say, okay, I can't fail this time. And in you
Mhm.
not wanting to fail, you don't try or you don't put anything out there because you're afraid of the embarrassment or the shame or having to answer to someone. And most of the times, though, right, the people who we are concerned about being embarrassed in front of, they don't contribute to your life. They don't
Mhm.
contribute to your goals. Nothing. The only thing they contribute is their commentary. And what's that going to do for you at the end of the day if you know why it is that you need to be doing what you're
Right.
doing, what your goals are, and what's your why and what's your priorities?
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, I think so many times this fear, this false evidence appearing real, right? Like we're afraid of people that ain't even thinking about us. You know what
They
I'm saying?
forget you in 2 seconds. Like you walk
Yeah,
away and they don't even remember that they talked to you. And that's who you worrying about. And they live in their lives worrying
yeah,
about themselves.
yeah, yeah.
And you worrying
I,
about them.
yeah, I think the next thing that we could do, and I've realized, is take small risk, right? Like break your big goal into small, manageable steps that you could test and learn from. Um,
Yeah.
and so we talked about that, and that's what we're trying to do here, right? Like we have this big goal, but we're breaking it up into small sections, right? Like, hey, let's just
Right.
take this step, then let's take this step, then let's take this next step, right? And it's really breaking things up into small, manageable steps that you can take, so that you could get to the big steps. And so
Yes.
I think that's important. And another thing
Yeah.
that's important to do is to build a support system, right? If you're afraid of failure, build a support system with mentors, advisors, other colleagues that encourage you to push through your fears and offer guidance when challenges arrive, right?
Yeah.
Like people that have been there before, people who have been on similar journeys before, right? You know, I say this, and we say this sometimes, right? Like surround yourself with winners, so when you win, it don't seem like bragging, right? Like if your squad are winners, when you win, it doesn't seem like you're bragging. But the reality is this: most winners, most people who've been successful, they have a relationship with failure as well.
They do.
So 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 the people that are winners, the people that are successful in your circle, they're not the people to be afraid to show that you're failing. They're not
Right.
the people to be afraid to share that you failed. Those are the people that are going to encourage you because they failed as well. A lot of times, the
Yes.
people that we feel have it all together, like, and I told you this before, like, as I look at different people on social media or whatever the case is, and I look at them and they're doing kind of what I want to do, right? Oftentimes, what I want to do is I don't want to look at their success now. I want to go and look at where they started.
Yeah. Show me the whole story. Don't just show me the highlights. Show me everything.
Well, I think that's important though. Not just seeing the journey, that's right. Like, because their highlights may be where they are now. They might be living in the fruits of their labor. They may be living in the fruits of their failure. But that's not how the story began. So
It's not
oftentimes
how
I
it's
want to go back because I want to see the journey. Because where they started is perhaps where I am. So not only does it give me inspiration, but it also gives me encouragement knowing that I can get there. Knowing that,
yes.
okay, I see, oh, that's how they looked online. That was when they did live. Oh, listen, that's how their first product, that was their first event. That was their
Yeah.
church service. You got to be kidding me, right?
Gotta be kidding.
And oftentimes we want the glory, but we don't understand that there's a story attached to it. And so I think one of the things, if we feel like we're not afraid to fail, understand this. Understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part
No,
of
it's not.
success.
It's a part
It's a
of it.
it's a part of success. And I'm so grateful that I learned that lesson in very humble ways, right? But it's failure that pushes me. It's failure that drives me. I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. I don't know if you could tell. I don't, you
I think I missed that
you might
somewhere.
you might not know, but I'm a Kobe Bryant fan.
I'm so
And
surprised.
and individuals like Kobe Bryant would talk about remembering failure, remembering the missed shots, remembering, and Michael Jordan remember the game winners that they didn't hit more than the game winners that they did hit, because they used the failure to drive them to success. And so when you're afraid of failure, you're robbing yourself of the fuel that you need to be successful as well.
Definitely. All right,
All
let's
right.
go on to excuse number 4.
Excuse number four. I don't know enough. 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 I don't know. I want to do it, but I don't know enough. I want to do
Ah,
it, but I don't have enough information. I need to go back and get that degree. I need to go back and do a course. I need to
get
go
this
back to school.
certification. I
I
gotta
need to
do
get that
this. I gotta
certification.
do
I
that.
need to go to a seminar. I need to go to a workshop. I need to go to another training. I need to go.
To
I need to.
another one and another one and another one and another one because it's
Yeah,
never enough.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So not to devalue training,
right.
certifications, degrees, or anything of that nature, right? Those are important, and they have a space. But oftentimes, most of us, the reason why we use this "but" as an excuse isn't because we don't know enough, right? It's not because we don't have enough information. It's because we don't have enough application. Most
Mm,
of us don't have an information problem. Most of us, we have an application problem.
talk about it. An application problem. But break it down now.
Yeah,
You got to break that down.
yeah. And so a lot of times we're feeling as if we're allowing the insecurity of not knowing enough, not knowing everything. Listen, you don't have to know everything. You just have to be a step ahead of the people that you're serving.
That's right. Just one step.
It's just
in
something to be a
teaching, they
step ahead
taught
of.
me that I taught for one, I taught for a very brief time. It's a very short book, um, at high school, but you only need to be one chapter ahead in order to teach the something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that analysis paralysis again comes into play when you feel as if you have to know everything before you take a step, right? You want to
Right,
launch the course, but you don't know everything about marketing. So because you don't know marketing, you're not even going to do the course, right?
right.
You don't know you want to write the book, but because you don't know a publisher or you don't know how to publish it, you don't even start writing the book, right?
Yeah,
This I don't know enough. And so one of the things that I know is sometimes you got to learn as you go.
you have to. You got to
Learn
learn
as you
as you
go.
go.
I preached a message on Sunday at our church, and I talked about my introduction. Was talking about the lepers in Luke chapter 17, and the Bible says that these lepers, as Jesus is walking, he sees them, and he says, "Go show yourself to the priest." Right? Go show yourself to the priest. And then the Bible says something very significant. As they went, they were healed.
As they went.
As they went, right?
Yes,
As they took the step of faith, as they took the step of obedience, as they did what they knew they were supposed to do, as they went, they were healed. And when you feel as if you don't know enough, do what you know. Do what you know. And I talked about this on Sunday as well. Oftentimes we're like, God, I need a new word. I need a fresh word. I need fresh revelation. And God's saying, what, you ain't do nothing with the last thing I told you.
oh my God.
This ain't a preaching platform, but I want to let you know that sometimes as business owners, entrepreneurs, visionaries, and dreamers, it's not that we need more information. We need to take the steps with the information we already have.
You got to apply what
It's
you
it's
got.
it's the application that we lack. It's the
Right,
follow through that we lack. It's the initiative to take action that we lack, not necessarily the information that we need. Now, once
right.
again, sometimes we need more information, but you can learn as you go, right? The next
You
thing is
wouldn't
this.
even know what information you need until you
Yeah,
go. You wouldn't even know what's missing until you start.
yeah, yeah. Next thing is this. I mean, I ask for help or hire help along the way, right? Like, there's a lot of things I don't do, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna put y'all on game. My secret sauce is Fiverr and Upwork. Listen, you might have come on this live just to hear that. Fiverr and Upwork. Listen, I listen, you wouldn't believe this, Shamir. I have 6 full-time employees that work for me from Upwork.
From
6.
Upwork.
6. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I hired another one today. I
Wow.
I created, listen, let me tell you this. For 3 months, I had this Go Higher Level account because we talked about it. I
Yeah,
gave you
yeah,
access
yeah.
to it, right? I ain't
Right.
do nothing with the thing, right?
Not a thing.
Not a thing, not a thing. And so guess what? I hired someone today to help move that along, right? Because I'm not gonna let what I don't know stop me from doing the things that, hey, listen, I have the information. I just need you to work this. I need you to put it in. I need you to create the funnels. I need you to create the workflows. I know everything. I know the information, but I'm not going to let what I don't know in terms of Go Higher Level and how to do all those things stop me from doing what I do know how to do.
Right. And we back to talking about delegating and leveraging connections and all of that again. It's coming back up. It's the same thing.
Absolutely. And the next thing is this: just start. Start. Perfection is the enemy of progress.
Definitely.
Perfection is the enemy. And so sometimes we want to be perfect. We want to launch the idea with everything. Listen, get started and improve as you go.
Yes.
Get started, improve, tweak, get feedback as you go and get better. You know, for many years, I was a church consultant. I helped church planters, I helped pastors, whatever case is. And oftentimes they'd want to launch a new campus, they'd want to launch a new church, whatever case is. And one of the bigger things that were hindrances to them is they wanted all the bells and whistles when they started.
Day
Right? They
one.
wanted all the equipment, they wanted all the lights, they wanted all the sound, they wanted all. It is like, you know what? What you got to do is sometimes just start. And
Yeah.
one of the tricks that I taught them, because of one of the tricks I learned, is like you create relaunches, create relaunches, create relaunch. So one of the things I would tell them is, listen, start on Saturday night. and then launch on Sunday morning, then launch on Sunday night, whatever the case is, then launch, like continue to launch, just launch at different levels.
Right.
And that's going to be beneficial. But the thing is just to start where you are and to get going. Hey, our time is almost up.
I was about to say,
let's go to number five.
On to number five.
And then we'll be done. Listen, we're talking tonight about getting your butt out the way. What excuse are you making? What excuse are you making for not doing what it is that you said you wanted to do, that dream that you had in your heart, that thing that God has put inside of you that you said you wanted to accomplish this year? And so are you like Moses, just making these excuses, but I can't do this, but they won't support me, they won't listen to me, but I don't have enough time, right? I don't have enough time, but I don't have enough money, but what if I fail? But what if I don't know enough? It's time to move your butt out the way. And so number five we're going to talk about tonight is, but it's not the right time.
Is there such a thing? Like, is there such a thing as the right time? What does that, what is the right time? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Or is that a fantasy?
Yeah. So understand this. Waiting on the perfect time leads to indefinite delays. There will never be a perfect time to start. It's about creating the right conditions and just starting in that. Right? There's never the perfect time to start. And so oftentimes if you're waiting on the perfect time, you're always going to be pushing it back and saying it's not the right time. Right? And so shift to a now mindset. Shift to now mindset. Martin Luther King Jr. talks about the fierce urgency of now. This fierce urgency, and recognize that every season is going to have its challenges, but action is the only way to move forward. And you just got to get started. And so you got to shift your mindset to a now mindset. Like what can I do now? Well, no, okay, it may not be the right time to do that. It may not be the right time to do all of it, but what can I do now?
What can I do now?
What can I do now?
And where can I start?
Where can I start? Where can I get going? Where can I create momentum? Momentum begins with movement. And a lot of times we need momentum in our business, in our ministry, whatever the case is, but it's created with movement. It's with getting started. It's with getting started and not waiting on a perfect time, because that will lead to indefinite delays.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes one of the things that you have to do is leverage the conditions and adapt. Leverage what's going on around you. Yeah, leverage what's going on around you. Like, understand that there's certain seasons, there's time and seasons, there's certain seasons that you don't want to miss.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Right? Like,
you gotta stay ready.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, so that you can leverage the conditions of now. It's like the 10 versions, right? Like, you gotta have oil in your lamp. You gotta have it. You can't wait to go and get it. Yeah. When you see now is the time. And so it's just a mindset shift. It's a mindset shift. Because procrastination will be the enemy and will rob you of pursuing what you ought to accomplish. Yes. And so I know what it is to push back, right? Like, push back and wait and I want to go to school. I want to do this. I want to start the business. I want to create this. I want to launch this program, whatever the case is. The whole thing is to start now. Yeah. There's a Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time? Second best time is today. You got to plant that tree. Yeah. So you want mangoes in season, but you ain't planted a tree yet. Yeah. You got to plant a tree, and now and I like to tell people, the only time you have is the time you have, and the time you have now. So you don't have future time. You don't know when your time is up. You don't have future time. You only have the time that you have right now. And so that's all you have. And so we've got 5 more minutes. You know, we like to respect people's time. We're talking about time, but we like to respect time. And this was a hot conversation. Like I said, we could have been here
all night, still on point number one. But the point of this is not to get you stuck in discussing the excuses. It's to get you on a track where you recognize what those excuses are and to move past them, and to not allow your excuses to keep on holding you back, because the list of excuses that you could have, that you could talk about, it'll be endless. It's always gonna be something. It's too hot today. It's too cold today. The sky is too blue. I was waiting till the tide was high. I was waiting till the tide was low. You always have an excuse, but you got to make the most of what you have and what's in your hand. So I found this quote and I loved it, by Jordan Belfort. It says, "The only thing standing between you and your goal is the story that you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. That's the only thing. It's your own story. It's your own excuse. And you got to take this thing personal now and deactivate and deprogram and take the power away from your excuses if you are going to move forward before the end of the year. Because if you can't start moving forward now, January 1, 2025, it's not going to be enough motivation for you to move forward. If you're not ready to move forward now and start building momentum now and to keep on going, because once you start, you got to keep going. You got to keep on fueling the momentum. If you're not willing to do that now, then there's nothing on the calendar, nothing on the clock, nothing external is going to help you to move forward. And so what's going to be your next move? This got to be personal now. What's going to be the next thing that you do? Now, you may already know what that next thing is that you need to do. You've been talking about it for so long. You've had the same plan. Some of you, if you're honest, you had the plan written down for like 5 years, start to finish. You know everything, the whole plan, the business plan, the plan for the group that you were supposed to start, whatever it is. You have the plan. You already have it written out. Some of you have already even sat with the planners and the consultants and the business gurus and what's not, and you have the plan. It's just sitting there because you are allowing your excuses to get you started. And some of your excuse is that you don't have the plan fully formed yet. So you can't start yet, but you gotta get started on something, and it's always something that you could do. So one of the things we want to do to help you to get moving and to get going is to give you an opportunity to take a 5-day journey with us starting next week. It's only 5 days. If you want the time, if you want to find the time to take this journey with us, you can find it.
What do we say? People find time for what they want.
They find time for what they want. Yes, if you want it, you could find the time. If it's important enough for you, you will prioritize it. You will put it on the calendar. You will write it down. You will set an alarm. You will have somebody in place to be your accountability partner to make sure you're done. And so we want you to take the Unstuck Challenge with us. And we're starting on Monday, November 4th, and we're ending on November 8th. It's going to be a quick 5 days. But once you sign up to join the challenge with us, we're going to give you the small steps or the small risks that you can take to help guide you along the way, so that when we come back again next month, that we're not stuck on the same story. And so in order for you to take part in the challenge, what we want you to do is head over on Facebook to the Forward Movement, like the page and join the group. And then we're going to be giving you the prompts and helping you to move forward, to take the steps, to have that accountability, to have people that's doing it with you, because movement in groups helps movement. Sometimes it helps it better than you on your own. So you don't have to be stuck by yourself out here like Gilligan on Gilligan's Island, all by yourself, stranded. We are here to help you, and that's what we want to do. So the first step, what's your next move? Your next move is to go to the Forward Movement on Facebook, like the page, and join the group. That's it. Don't even worry about what the next step is. We'll get there when we get there, starting on Monday, November 4th. So, Jermaine, anything else you want to say before we shut this down for the night?
Listen, if you haven't as well, go to the forwardmovement.com, the fwdmovement.com. And once you get on our mailing list, you'll get information about how to join the challenge as well. And as
Yes.
Mia said, it's going to be 5 days and it's going to be small tasks to help you get unstuck. We want to come alongside of you and help you take your next step. That's what forward movement is all about. Forward movement is one foot in front of the other, taking one step at a time. And so if you feel like you're stuck, and if you want to do this challenge with other people that, other people that are in your business, other people that you have been accountable with, like join the challenge with them. It's going to be amazing. And our goal is to help you get unstuck. And we'll be taking the
Yes.
challenge along with you. So we're excited about that. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I trust that you've enjoyed your time with the Forward Movement. Join our mailing list so you can stay updated with the content that we have. And listen, I'm excited about what God has in store for you. And I want to pray for him tonight as we leave, Shmia, and we'll go from here. Father, we thank you so much for these group of individuals that have come on and that have just have a desire to move forward. Father, actually, you bless their business, bless their family, bless their ministry, bless whatever they have their hands on right now, that you'd bless them and help them to take the next step that's in front of them. Help them to move the butt out of the way so they can be all that you created them to be and do all that you created them to do. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.